Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks, Saturday, March 14th, 2015. It's Pi Day. This is episode 1169. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by FreshBooks, the easy-to-use invoicing software designed to help small business owners save time billing and get paid faster. Join over 5 million users running their businesses with ease. Try it free at freshbooks.com/techguy. And by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you get award-winning financial tools, unbiased advice, and a transparent view of all your investments. Best of all, it is free to sign up. Go to personalcapital.com/techguy. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk tech, computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater, digital photography, and I got to now add Apple Watch to the mix. If you want to talk high tech, I'd love to talk with you. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. I'd love to hear from you if you want to call in and talk on this Pi Day. Look at this. Microsoft sent me, some apple pie. It's not that kind of pie. But you know what? Every day is good for pie. This is 3:14:15, which is the ratio of the let me see if I can remember, the circumference of a circle to its diameter. That's right, isn't it? That's always seems to be 3.14159. And since this is March 14th, every year at March 14th, you have this Pi Day celebration. It is also Einstein's birthday. So I think both of these should be celebrated, don't you think? Pi Day. Now, if you go on out, because pi goes out longer, right? 3.141592653. We should have celebrated an hour or two ago in California at 9:26:53. Then it would have been pi all the way out to, is that 9 digits? Happy Pi Day. Look, there's a Pi lunchbox in here. In celebration, this is from Microsoft. See, every once in a while, I get some goodies from these companies. Digital gift cards. Visit the Windows Phone store for a spot for Pi Day themed digital gift cards. Oh, that's cool. With a picture of Einstein and pi, all the way up to a lot of numbers. And then, actually, this is a good deal. The Xbox Music Pass is $100 for a year's worth of unlimited music. They're charging $31.14 for it today. I'll give them a plug for that. And they're also cutting half off of the Einstein Brain Trainer HD app at the Windows Phone store. So the 3 or 4 of you who have Windows phones, if you've been watching House of Cards, apparently a lot of people in government, in president's offices, have Windows Phone. It's interesting, though. I guess Microsoft didn't pay quite enough to own all. And, probably the producers thought, we can't have everybody have a Windows Phone. That's just not going to be credible. So some of them have Apple phones. Some of them have, I don't think I've seen any Android phones. But that's a show a lot of geeks watch because it's on Netflix. So it's a good place to put an ad for Windows Phone by carrying it around. This is also the week. What's in this lunchbox? Oh, Windows Phone. Oh, that's cute. Look at that. I can carry my Windows. Ooh, it's very yellow. It's pretty, actually. A Lumia 635. I think I actually want Microsoft to do well with Windows Phone. And I fear that they're not. It's really, it's been tough because they came so late to the game. And by the time Microsoft started doing Windows Phone, Android and iOS kind of ruled the roost. Look at this, Alex. From Microsoft, they sent me some pie and a Windows Phone. Would you like some pie?
I would love some pie.
I have lemon, chess, or apple. Which would you like to have today?
Apple.
Apple. Of course you would. Here's the Apple. It's got a crisscross crust and everything. Why don't you bring them both out there? They're from the Three Babes Bake Shop. I don't know where that is, but make some coffee for that. No, competition is good for us. Whether you carry a Windows phone or an Android phone or an iOS phone, having competition is a good thing. It drives everybody to do better. And you know what? I love seeing Microsoft try harder. I almost feel like they're gonna, they might give up. I want them to give up. Keep going, Microsoft. Lunchbox says, "Hi, I'm Cortana." That's the name of their digital assistant. We've got 3 good digital assistants: Google, Siri, and Cortana. There you go. You give me pie, the world is yours. Happy Pi Day, everybody. Of course, this was the week Apple announced the watch. You probably heard scads of stories about it. I think Apple probably strategically, well, this is interesting. Did they make a mistake by announcing a $17,000 version? That seems like an awful lot of money, doesn't it? For a watch that's going to be obsolete in a year or two. You can't hand it down because your kids aren't going to want, oh, Dad, that's so 2015. I don't. What do you think this is, the 21st century? I don't want that. But I am encouraged by the watch, and this is another case where competition is a good thing. You have now Pebble, which has really stepped up to the plate. The Pebble Steel is getting more colorful, more interesting. You have Android Wear, which is really proving to be a pretty good platform for watches. A lot of different Android Wear watches from Motorola, Samsung, LG. You have Samsung itself doing a lot of watches, and Sony too. I think both of them are kind of fading fast. It's gonna and Microsoft has the Microsoft Band, which is a watch, but it's a health-focused watch. The Apple Watch is the one everybody's going to be paying attention to. Now, we should say it starts at $350, and I think that's not so unreasonable. That's about $100 more than a comparable Android Wear. That's that's the standard for Apple, right? About 50% more than the market rate, because they're Apple. So that makes sense. And then, but the question is anybody going to buy that $350 sport watch when the line goes all the way from $350 to $17,000? I think this is possibly the marketing strategy is we give you a high and a low, and most people are going to pick in the middle. And then when you buy a $600 or $700 watch, it doesn't seem so expensive, does it? Because it's a lot less than the $10,000 one. I'll be very interested. The watches, you can go to an Apple store and look at them April 10th and pre-order April 10th. You won't get your watch till April 24th. And, of course, I will have a review for you. Absolutely will have a review for you when that time comes. Because of course I'm going to get one. What do you think? They also announced a couple other things that I think are of great interest, too. A new Macintosh. They call it just MacBook. Really thin, really light, and no connectors on it at all. Just one power connector. But it's a new type of power connector. I kind of like the USB-C connector. I'll talk a little bit about that later. And why that probably is the future for all computers. It's a very cool connector, but only one. Some people think that's a little odd. We can talk about all of that. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. You'll be talking to Heather Hummon, the phone ranger, who is ready to take your call. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we talk home theater with Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek. What else? What else is coming up? Well, your calls. 8888 Ask Leo. The website is techguylabs.com. If you want to go there to see what happened, you don't have to write anything down. techguylabs.com. It's free. It's open. No sign up. Your comments are welcome there, too. I'll talk about the new MacBook, the Type-C connector. We'll talk a little bit about HBO Now, which is a big announcement Apple made, and the new research platform that Apple's putting out for the watch, which I find interesting, but maybe is a little misunderstood. It's a medical research program, but it's very early days yet. We'll talk a little bit about what Apple's plans are there. And I got another drone. We can talk about quadcopters. I finally got the Parrot Bebop drone. We talked about it last week. Somebody said, I ordered one. I said, you could get one? Of course, immediately rushed out and bought one. It's going to be an expensive March. All this new stuff coming out. Oh, and Google announced a new Chromebook. It's Chromebook Pixel 2. is out. I have one of those too, also with a Type-C connector. All of this, food for thought, food for conversation on the show. If you wish to call and ask, 8888 Ask Leo. That's my number. I'd love to hear from you. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada, or use Skype if you're outside those areas. We'll go right to the phones. Take your first calls right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wow, that's yellow. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I forgot to mention, there's so much news this week. South by Southwest is going on right now in Austin. It's a big party for geeks. But there, in past years, South by Southwest has been a great place to launch an app. So Twitter really took off in 2007 because you get all these geeks, maybe 10, 50,000, I don't know how many geeks, a significant number, in the tens of thousands of geeks together. And word can spread like wildfire. Word of mouth is so important in this business. So Twitter took off in 2007. Foursquare became huge. The check-in app in, was it 2008, I think, or 2009? And this year, the app du jour is Meerkat. It's been a while since an app has really swept South by Southwest off its feet. Meerkat has, though, for some reason. Everybody doing it. iPhone only, iOS only. They do have an iPad app. Meerkat allows you to stream live instantly, and it automatically tweets to your Twitter followers and says, hey, Leo's streaming right now. Or you could schedule ahead of time. And then they can comment on your live stream. It's kind of fun as you're doing it, because little heads pop up as people start to follow you of the people who are watching you. So you see your audience on the screen. And then underneath, they can make comments, and all their comments go to Twitter too. So it's quite the party. One little tiny fly in the ointment, though. Seems that Twitter bought a very similar app last month called Periscope. They've been polishing Periscope. I don't know what happened. The folks at Meerkat apparently wrote it in 15 days and got it out at the end of last month, end of January. Maybe they heard about the Periscope app acquisition and said, wait, quick, get our app out. But they came out first. Periscope's still not out. And Meerkat has swept the geeks nation. You know, I mean, the geeks are loving it. Everybody's doing it. Jared Leto, the actor, or maybe just his hair, I don't know. I think he's one of the number one Meerkat users. Oh, and the weird thing is, so you do the live stream, people watch it, they comment on it, and then you can save the video to your phone if you want, but you can't save it anywhere else. That's it, it's done. So it's live or nothing, which I think is one of the reasons it succeeds. Because it's like Snapchat, it's just temporary. So you don't have to put a lot of effort. You don't have to put on makeup. You don't even put on pants if you want. You can just anything. And I've seen people streaming from everywhere on their way to work and all sorts of stuff. Meerkat, however, is a little bit of a threat, I think, to Twitter, because they've started to clamp down on it. Oh man, come on, guys! Remember what I said about competition? It's good for everybody. Let's go. Twitter said Meerkat can no longer look up your Twitter contacts and add them. It was kind of one of the appealing parts of Meerkat, if you had a Twitter account, is it was very easy. You just logged onto your Twitter account in Meerkat. It said, okay, here's all your friends who are using it. It automatically tells you when your friends. In fact, it's so popular right now at South by Southwest, I'm looking at my my iPhone, and it's blowing up. Guy Kawasaki is meerkatting. Daniel Morell is meerkatting. Vincenzo Landino is meerkatting. Major is meerkatting. All of my friends, and they're all in Austin, and they're meerkatting each other. It's crazy out there. Just nuts. Actually, going up, let's see who's at the top of the leaderboard now. Vincenzo Landino, I don't know who he is. Then Jared Leto, Ryan Hoover, Geek Hut, Ben Rubin. It's a bunch of geeks. Let's go to the phones. You want a meerkat? You know, we should meerkat the show from your angle.
Sounds good.
The reverse angle. See, I'm a little jaded because I've been streaming. Everything I do for 8 years now. So
you're so been there, done that, burned the T-shirt.
Yeah, but I kind of like Meerkat. I'm in the top 10.
Let's do it. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I set up a meerkat?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to say BTS. That's meerkat talk for behind the scenes. What are you laughing at? BTS.
You said behind.
I said the tech guy.
I have to do this because I was just thinking I'm always slightly lagging on like the hip new app,
thing.
and that's why I had to be H-Balm, B-A-L-M.
Because somebody else had
on
bomb.
Twitter, because somebody always takes H-Balm from out under.
Well, why don't you download? You know what? Let's do this.
I'll do it right now.
You should do it from your phone. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll stream here. I'll stream you.
Oh.
And then you stream me. And it'll be a meerkat inception.
There's going to be a whole new word for just doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, I think there is. It's called narcissism.
It was invented long ago.
Old school, man. What call should I start with here while you're setting up your meerkat?
Yeah, you should talk to Mike in Albion, Idaho, and then I can get this done.
All right. All right. Go ahead. Go to work, Heather. Hey, Mike. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah, howdy.
Howdy.
I finally got Exceed Satellite, and I'm talking to you through it right.
That's the wild blue technology, right?
Yeah, and I'm talking to you right now through it.
Okay.
With Magic Jack.
Wow, you are really modern.
I know, and then in a few months I'll be heading up into the hills, and I'm going to be taking my dish with me, but I may not be able to get the dish within the 300 feet of allowable cable, and I was wondering if there is a directional router I could use to shoot towards the motorhome.
Oh, I see. You want to do it with Wi-Fi. Well, first of all, I'm glad you called because I've been using Exceed. Once a year, we do something from a Hamvention with my my ham buddies, Bob Heil and Gordon. And they use Exceed to get to us, and we've been very impressed. But one of the issues with satellite, there are 2 issues with satellite, 3. There's 4 issues with satellite. I can come up with more. It's expensive, right? You have to buy the dish and blah, blah, blah. So startup is expensive. The other issue, sometimes they have limits on the amount of bandwidth. How much was the startup for you?
Oh, all I had to do was pay the first month, $59.
And they provided the dish and everything?
Yeah, they came and set it up.
Wow. They must want customers
They
bad.
drove over.
That's a lot.
They drove over 125 miles to get to me.
Holy cow. Well, you better stay subscribed for a few years. They can make their money back. So, okay, that's good. That's not bad. Now, there's another thing, and you're noticing it right now, which is latency. And actually, it's not bad at all. The problem with satellite internet is instead of kind of a light speed connection straight down the road, it's going up to a satellite and back down again. And that can add a few milliseconds or more in what we call latency, lag, as it goes up and down. So I'll stop speaking, and maybe a second or two later, you'll hear the end of what I say. But it's not too bad.
Yeah, it seems to work just fine.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to be able to take this up in the hills with me. But like I say, I don't know if I can get the dish close enough to the motorhome to where I can get a signal. And I need a long-distance directional router. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. So the Exceed dish... Oh, we're out of time. I'll talk some more right after this. So, Scott, what are you powered by? Tang and a full tank of gas. Hi, Scott
That's
Wilkinson.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. I used to drink a lot of Tang in college. My grandparents would send me care packages with Tang.
You know, I was thinking, this is completely off the subject, but I was thinking I was making cheeseburgers the other night, and the 12-year-old likes Velveeta. You know, those preformed slices.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, that's not cheese, it's manufactured food. But then I thought about it, and I realized that in the 50s, it was kind of the space age, the 50s and 60s, and we liked manufactured food like Tang and margarines of various kinds, and cheese that was extruded from a machine. And I think that was
freeze-dried astronaut food.
Yeah, I think we felt like that was the future. The future was in manufactured food.
Yep.
And so it's a little Yeah, we're going the other way now. But it's a little relic of the 60s, of the space race, I think.
Yes.
So Scott Wilkinson is a home theater guru. He really is. He's editor-in-chief over at the AVS Forum, which is the place for people into audio and video. But he also does a great podcast, which I now have been started watching every week because I'm home and I can watch the
Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's on my day off. Home Theater Geeks, twit.tv/HTG. You're on Fridays.
Thursdays.
I'm sorry, Thursdays at what time?
2 to 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Thank you. You'd think I'd
And
know.
You'd think you'd know, but what do you need to? You can just watch the podcast.
Well, yeah, I'm sitting in front of the screen a lot at that time, so that's one of the reasons I often watch live. So, what do you want to talk about today, Scotty?
Well, a couple things. One is I wanted to give you a little update on the dress. I did a
the
poll.
blue and gold versus black and blue.
Black and blue versus white and gold. I did a little poll on AVS a couple weeks ago. 738 people voted.
Wow.
Very nearly 50% saw white with gold trim. And 32, almost 33% saw blue with black trim. I also had a choice of something else in case, somebody saw something else. And a choice of my perception switches over time.
Yeah.
And so white with gold trim won.
Well, but it is rough. It actually is kind of roughly 50-50. We found that in our own de facto
informal poll.
Poll here. Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring you that little piece of information. I'm amazed at how the strength of emotion that this question brings up in people.
I know.
They were just, what are you talking about? You're crazy.
I know. No, you can't. No, you can't do that.
You can't possibly be seeing that because I don't see that.
I know. It's so interesting to see that.
It's very interesting. But what I really wanted to talk about today was why I wasn't here last week, which is I went to a 3-day-long conference put on by AES, Audio Engineering Society, about the future of audio entertainment technology. And this was a long 3-day conference down in Hollywood. We had to be there at 8 in the morning, and we were basically going all day long till like 5:30, all 3 days. It was like drinking from a fire hose, let me tell you. It was really something. But there were a ton of things that got discussed. I just wanted to bring up a couple of them and let you know sort of what's coming down the pike. Certainly, we talked about low frequency and bass, and
it's all about that bass.
It's all about I'm all about the bass. In fact, they played that.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
It was hilarious. Anyway, Anthony Gramani, one of my favorite podcast guests, actually, and a really great acoustician, was advocating for multiple subwoofers, which in the cinema they have, but at home very often you don't. And having 2 or more subwoofers actually lets you smooth out the bass response very much so that the seat variation from seat to seat is very small and everybody hears the same thing, and it's not all bloated and it's not all boomy. It's very tightly controlled. It's very possible to do that, believe it or not, with where you place multiple subs. So I found that very interesting. Another thing I found really interesting was that in the dubbing stages where they actually create the movie soundtracks, they do not use a technique called bass management, which means...
Well, I'm shocked.
I know. Where you take the bass frequencies, the low frequencies from the main channels, 5.1, so your 5 channels, and you redirect those to the subwoofers. They don't do that there or in the cinema, but we do it at home. So what you hear at home isn't necessarily, and often not, what you hear in the cinema. So we're advocating for the professionals, the people who actually create this content, to start doing that. Another great...
You're saying I should have 2 subwoofers in my house?
Yeah. Ideally, that will help smooth out the bass response from seat to seat. And
I don't care. If I could just have the bass response at one seat, is one enough?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
I'm only getting a second subwoofer for my wife.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Then I don't think she cares.
Friends,
no, I don't. Okay. If I'm doing a home theater, I guess, but mostly I just sit in my den in my boxer shorts and watch
If you're
Murray.
sitting in the money seat and that's
Yeah.
all you care about, then yeah, you can set it up with one subwoofer so that it sounds great there. But you move over to the next seat,
Yes.
and it will sound very different.
Isn't that interesting? Because didn't we always say that those low frequencies are non-directional, and it's the higher frequencies that are?
It's true. The low frequencies are non-directional. That is correct. You can't tell where they're coming from. The problem is in what are called standing waves. So the room, you're in a room, right?
Yeah,
It's got
yeah.
certain dimensions, and the walls reflect some sound energy.
Yeah.
And in the low frequencies, the wavelength of the sound is in feet or tens of feet. And so when you have a room that's, I don't know, 15 by 18, something like that, certain frequencies correspond, the wavelengths of those frequencies correspond to those dimensions of the room. And you get what are called standing waves, which are resonances,
Yeah.
because the length of the room corresponds to a particular wavelength of sound. And so that particular wavelength is going to get reinforced in such a way that if you sit in one place in the room, that particular frequency, say 60 hertz or 40 hertz, is going to get greatly amplified. You're going to hear it more than any other frequency. And you move over for a couple feet, and all of a sudden you're in what's called a null, and you can't hear that frequency anymore. And so it sounds kind of weak and wimpy. So the trick really is to get the sound even across the room if there's more than one person in the room.
And is the positioning important? I guess it
Yes.
would be, because you could create standing waves so they should be both next to each other. I don't know.
No. They should typically, the general rule is you put the subs on the halfway or quarter way point along a wall.
Okay.
So if it's a 12-foot wall, you'd put it at 4 feet.
You're back to left and right
3.
subwoofers now, kind of, sort of.
Kinda, except that they're not directional. You won't hear where that sound is coming from.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put speakers in the ceiling.
Now, that was the other thing. We had a whole day on immersive audio. You would have loved it.
For years, I had a left channel and a right channel, and I was happy.
Yeah.
And you came along. Now I have 5.1 surround sound. Now I need 5.2 plus some Atmos speakers.
I'm actually I'm working with Dolby. I want to get you down to San Francisco to hear Atmos in the Dolby Theater.
Okay.
I'm going to make that happen.
Scott Wilkinson, avsforum.com. Make sure you listen to Home Theater Geeks, or you can download it after the fact, twit.tv/HTG. Thank you, Scott.
You betcha.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're going to get back to long-distance Wi-Fi when we come back. Stay here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Mike, you've been very, very patient. I'm sorry, holding on through that entire thing. So, Mike, though, it's not costing you anything, right? Because you're using VoIP.
No, that's right, because it's $39 a year for my phone.
That's the Magic Jack.
Yeah.
And Magic Jack does rely on high-quality internet, and I guess you're getting that from Wild Blue. It also requires low latency, and there's a little latency, but you get used to it, don't you? It's kind of like a walkie-talkie or something. You wait until the other person stops, and then
I talk.
And then you talk. So the chat room came up with some solutions for you. But first I want to understand this. So your Wild Blue antenna is out in the woods, somewhere where it could see the sky, distant from your RV. What is it connecting to? It's got to be a computer, right?
Well, yes. Exactly.
So you're going to put a computer out there with the antenna in the woods?
No, I'm going to have the computer in the motorhome and have the router shoot the signal to me.
So you can connect a Wild Blue. See, this is different. The old Hughes satellite, you had to connect it directly to a computer. You could connect the Wild Blue to a router.
Yes, you can.
It has its own little box probably that comes off the dish, and then that box has Ethernet out into a access point.
Yeah, I can do like 100 feet of coax or 130 feet of coax and 200 feet of Ethernet.
Right. How far is the RV from the dish?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I'm trying to find a super long range.
Right. They make them. They're not there's a couple of ways to do this. A directional antenna will help, but you really want to boost it. And by the way, it has to be boosted on both sides if you think about it, because you're sending and receiving from both sides of the Wi-Fi exchange. So you're going to have to buy a system, for both ends. Ubiquiti makes, of course, some routers that are used in some pretty tough situations. UBNT.com, these Ubiquiti routers. They may be a little bit expensive for what you want to do. There are some good sites for Wi-Fi antennas. If all you want to do is, you're going to have to do some experimentation, I guess is what I'm saying. There are long-range antennas that are directional. If you go, there are a number of places to buy these. There's websites. I'm looking at Country Mile Wi-Fi. This is C. Crane. We love C. Crane. Everybody loves C. Crane. Talking about how to do kind of what you want to do, which is a distant Wi-Fi signal. They include a signal booster as well as a directional antenna. They call it a point-to-point Wi-Fi antenna. That's because you're aiming it. Is it line of sight from the RV to the antenna?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
It all depends on where I have to, plant the dish, and then I go from there.
You kind of want line of sight if you can get it. Wi-Fi is a microwave frequencies. Doesn't go through trees all that well. And if it's a long distance, that's going to impede it. So what you hope is you can put that antenna and its router somewhere visible from your RV. Go to CountryMileWiFi.com. We love the C. Crane folks. And this talks about the issues involved, what you need to do to set it up, the hardware you need to get. It is going to take probably, in all likelihood, thank you, some experimentation. Just for that, I'm getting a second subwoofer just for you. My wife just brought me a cup of coffee. So now we are going to have two subwoofers in the house. So that's the solution, Mike. It takes some experimentation. Hackers, and I say that in the people who like to hack hardware, good way, positive way, have gotten Wi-Fi to go miles, literally. But it requires some engineering voodoo. Ubiquiti is available on Amazon, but I would read up on this, even if you don't buy the C. Crane stuff. And some of the C. Crane stuff I've tested does not really improve things much. So you want to read up on understanding you need both higher power and more directional antennas. You're going to have to plan this like an assault. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Moving on to Eldred in, is it Eldred?
It's Eldred, yeah.
Yeah, in Minton, California. Hello, Eldred.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
Good, thanks. Okay, so here's what happened.
Yeah.
My wife has a Galaxy Note 3, and
Nice.
she uses it heavily at work, and she deleted some stuff that she didn't mean to delete. And I don't know if Samsung or Galaxy may have like an iCloud kind of service.
They do, but you have to use it before you delete the stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely. Now, my question is, would it be possible to set up that kind of system at home?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if my wife is crazy about the whole.
She doesn't like the idea of her stuff being out there where she doesn't know where it is. But understand, it's floating through the public internet anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I think if I had a network drive at home and she come home and the Wi-Fi says, hey, she put something new on her phone,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and back it up here.
You can do that. So here's the deal. The Samsungs come, I think, with 50 or 100 gigabytes of Dropbox. They also have their own cloud solution. Either one of those would be fine. The Dropbox, now they don't back up everything. Typically Dropbox backs up photos only. The Samsung stuff backs up things like settings. You want document files, right?
Basically, yeah. She uses her memo, I guess, a little.
Oh, the Samsung would back that. The Samsung backup would back. Yeah, the Samsung backup would back up data from Samsung apps. It just couldn't guarantee it would back up data from non-Samsung apps. But if she uses she takes out the stylus and it launches S Note and all that, it'll back that up. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
In fact, I think S Note, if you look into it, might not on the Note 3. I'm pretty sure on the Note 4, S Note has a cloud storage solution built into it. But here's what I use. You can do your own cloud. And so people who are a little nervous about that, you can do your own cloud, and I do it. I use something called a transporter.
Okay.
And it's from filetransporter.com. There are a number of companies that do this. Pogo used to do it, but they don't make the hardware anymore. The idea of this, the transporter is actually pretty awesome. For $100, you buy a little network dongle. And I would get one for work and one for home.
Okay.
And then you attach to it a hard drive of whatever size you want, 3 terabytes, 5 terabytes, whatever you want. By doing that, you've now created, in effect, a Dropbox that you're running out of your house. And the reason I'd get one for the office is then it can sync to the one at the office. That's what I do. I have one transporter here in studio and one transporter at home, and they always stay in sync. So I have a copy of my data here, a copy of my data at home, and, of course, a copy of the original on the computer.
Okay. There's your 3-2-1 backup you always
There's your 3-2-1. You got it. And it has a Android app that lets you access whatever's on the transporter, and then she can save stuff. You know, I don't know about a automated backup, but she can save stuff to the transporter as if it's her local drive, and that way it's always available to her. I use Google Drive like that, but if she's nervous about Dropbox or Google Drive or a OneDrive Microsoft solution, she's nervous about them being somewhere else that she's not in control of. Transporter basically sets up the same kind of thing for your house. Are you pretty technical, Eldred?
Technical enough, yeah. I used to build computers back in the late 90s. I built,
okay.
Windows computer, but now I have all Mac stuff, so I haven't messed with it.
Yeah. No, this works great. It's a good solution. It's not expensive because you just get the little dongle thing, and then you probably have USB hard drives lying around anyway. And and those become your backup. This is exactly what I use. And I've been very happy with it. It even lets you share files publicly. It basically does everything Dropbox does, but there's no monthly fee because you own it. Yeah. You pay up front, in effect. Okay.
Great. Can I ask you one quick question?
Sure.
In order to watch your Twit network on my iMac, do I have to have the Adobe Flash Player?
This is a sore spot for me because I hate Flash. Apple hates Flash. iOS hates Flash. But Flash, if you want to watch us live,
yes, I do.
We use providers like Ustream and BitGravity, both of which do Flash. But we do have a non-Flash solution. So if you use the FlowSoft stream, that does not require Flash. That's something called HLS. Doesn't require any additional hardware. You know, YouTube just this month stopped using Flash. YouTube now is all what they call HTML5. It doesn't use Flash anymore, and that's a good thing. I think the end of Flash is coming soon. The problem is that we don't pay Ustream, so we have to use whatever they do. This Meerkat solution I'm using is not Flash. And we're doing it behind the scenes, by the way, of Heather. Heather, how many people are watching you now? You're very popular on the behind the scenes Meerkat. So Flash is going away, Eldred, and also our players soon will not be using Flash anymore either. We want to get rid of it too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Beatmaster, the sudden end of the last HTG. Next Thursday, and you did miss who I'm going to have on next Thursday because I had to record that later. Those of you who haven't seen the show, well, if you see the show, you won't notice. But if you were watching the live stream, my internet at my whole house entirely just cut out about 5 minutes before the end of the show. What? That was like unbelievable. Just completely dead.
Yeah, you went out and got a new router?
I went out and got a new
router. And then finished the show?
And then I came back and
that's above and beyond, my friend. That's impressive.
Well, I had this D-Link router. Have had it for years, 3 or 4 years at least. All of a sudden, I'm no longer on. The whole house went down. It took me 2 hours on with the cable mode.
And it turned out to be your router.
It turned out to be the router.
Yeah.
So I ran out, bought a new router, brought it home, set it up, and then Zach was kind enough in the evening to let me record my ending, the ending of the show.
Thank you. That's above and beyond.
Well, it's my pleasure. I really am very sorry because we didn't get to a couple of really important topics on that show, which was all about this conference that I went to.
Well,
but
routers rarely die like that, but they are just kind of cheap consumer devices. They're not.
Well, I was going to ask you, actually. A couple of people said D-Link, nah. You want Linksys?
No.
Or,
Who said Linksys?
oh,
Whoever said
Russell,
Linksys, no. Russell did not say Linksys.
No. Russell's partner.
Well, no. You never want Linksys.
Okay, well then I'm gonna have to take it back.
Oh, you already
what do I
got it?
want?
Well, keep it. That's fine.
No. I want to. I've been noticing some problems in the return stream. In fact, just this morning.
Linksys are horrible.
Okay, well, what do you recommend?
Because they're just so low-end, consumer grade, cheap.
Yeah. What about Netgear?
I use Netgear. D-Link I like a lot. But you know what I would get? I would recommend getting.
Yeah.
Asus now makes a router with the open source DDWRT on it. And that is, well, that's router. See, the problem with routers is because they're consumer grade, cheapo devices, they don't bother to keep the software up to date. So there are many security issues with routers, significant security issues. DDWRT is an open source router. So these
router software
that's been kept up to date. So you're not relying on ASUS to keep it up to date. You can buy these routers, and you can and these are good routers too. So
well, I mean, I've got 14 days to take this one back, so I could easily. And I have been having a little bit of problem with this one, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
so,
I think Linksys are kind of crappy.
Okay.
A lot of people use the WRT54s because they support DDWRT, but those are pretty old. I don't think that Linksys makes those anymore.
So,
frankly, I use all Apple. That's all I use. They're more expensive.
Yeah.
I've had great results. I use Airport Extremes exclusively.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Scotty.
Well, my pleasure.
See you later.
See you next week.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, now fully caffeinated for extra enjoyment. 8888 Ask Leo. I was a little groggy the first hour. Did I say anything odd, Heather? I mean, I've just now had my coffee came, and I feel much better.
Well, as I pointed out, a groggy Leo is smarter than really awake everybody else. So it's all good.
You're going to keep your job for another year. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it.
It's so hard choosing just the right thing to say.
Yes, because I could be a monster if you say the wrong thing. Do these headphones make me look fat?
You look amazing.
Thank you. So there's so many things that happened this week. Did you look at the Apple Watch and desire it?
I did for about a half hour, I think.
And then it wore off.
And then it kind of went away. I heard something about the battery life not being.
We don't know yet. You know, a lot of these things people are speculating about are just unknown. No one has a review unit. No one will. Probably till next month. I expect now Apple, this is what Apple does. They find a few high-profile journalists, mostly tame, and they will seed them. They probably have already given them Apple Watches, but they're what we call embargoed. They won't be able to write about it. I suspect not till April 10th or April 9th. But expect a bunch of reviews the day before the watch goes up for pre-order. And so you'll have some idea. My guess is that they'll be able to get a day. You'll charge it every night, but you already do that with your phone, right? In fact, it's now becoming a nightly ritual. You take all your electronics. Before you go to bed, you plug them all in. And the watch will be actually fairly easy to charge. It has what Apple calls its MagSafe adapter, which is, it looks like a stethoscope. The business end of a stethoscope. It's on a wire, and you put your watch anywhere near it, goes, and it sucks right into it magnetically. And it's an inductance charger, so it doesn't actually have any pins or inserts. It just goes, and it's there. So it'll be fairly easy to charge. It will take a while to charge. We hear that it's not going to be super fast charging, but again, we don't know till we see it. I'm excited. But I think the Apple Watch makes a lot more sense, and I don't think this is an accident, if you know other people who have an Apple Watch. The iPhone is this way. I don't know if you've noticed, but iPhone works better if you're with messages, if you're going to somebody else who has an iPhone. And Apple's done this in spades with the Apple Watch. Not only do you have to have an iPhone to use an Apple Watch, by the way, don't even consider an Apple Watch unless you have an iPhone 5 or later. But it's also designed, I think a lot of the features of the Apple Watch are designed to use with your honey. Now, I've got a whole story. It's all made up in my head about what happened. but this is based on rumors and leaks and stories we've seen all along. I think Apple wanted to design a fitness device. I think Apple's very health focused. In fact, they announced a big research project with the iPhone and the watch, with a number of big medical researchers on Parkinson's and heart disease and various things. And these are kind of pilot programs for using your phone for health diagnostics. I think Apple really wanted the watch to be all about health, not just, as every watch is already, a pedometer or a heart rate monitor, but I think they wanted to do more. But the technology isn't there. It was difficult to implement. Battery life is a very real concern. You don't want to have to charge it any less than once a day, or any more than once a day. And finally, I think the FDA got in the way. Apple had a very public meeting with the FDA late last year, and we speculated what happened. The FDA said, well, you could do this, but not that. You can have some health stuff, but you can't make any recommendations without our approval. FDA is really a stickler on that, and they should be. They don't want the watch to say, oh, you're having a heart attack, get to the hospital. That's without approval, and that means extensive testing. I think the research kit that they announced is part of that process. But in the meanwhile, they were kind of stuck. They had this idea of a watch that would do all this stuff, and it couldn't. So they had to come up with other stuff. And I think maybe the stuff they came up with might actually be pretty good. It's social. And they showed this a little bit. So, for instance, you can send your heartbeat, your literal heartbeat, because it's always one thing the Apple Watch does do that's pretty cool. It's always measuring your heartbeat. And in conjunction with the phone, knows when you're walking, standing, sitting, and gives you an idea of how you're doing during the day. You've been spending a lot of time sitting. You want to get up there and take a walk. But it also is always measuring your heart rate. And if you wish, you can send your heart rate to another Apple Watch user, and their wrist will go boom, 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 boom. That's kind of romantic. You can also draw hearts. They showed this, or XOXO, and the heart will appear on your lover's screen. I think there's some social aspects to this that Apple, I think, added after they realized, well, it's not going to be a big health thing. Or maybe they always envisioned this, but this is what they're selling, is this idea that really, to get the most out of the Apple Watch, you need to communicate with other Apple Watch users. So I figure for every one they sell, they expect to sell two. The price range, as we mentioned last hour, $350 all the way up to $17,000. The weirdest part is, usually if you spent that much money on something, you'd expect, well, I'm going to get something super duper, right? No. It's the exact same guts in all of them. It's not more memory. It's not a faster processor. Nothing. Same guts in the 300. I guess it'll make you feel good if you buy the sport watch. Hey, I'm wearing the same exact watch as this guy who paid $17,000. The difference is the gold or whatever. They have it. I actually think it borders on scam. The $10,000 rose gold watch costs $17,000 if you add a leather band with a gold buckle. That means the band alone is $7,000. That can't be right. There's not that much gold. My friend Kevin Rose, who is a watch fan, he has a watch blog, he has a watch app. I mean, a traditional watch, Patek Philippe style watch. He said, at best, the gold watch has about $1,000 worth of gold in it. At best. So when you buy a $17,000 watch, it's a hefty markup. And no, you're not getting more memory. You're not getting a faster processor. The very basic sport models are aluminum casings and glass, kind of Gorilla Glass fronts. You pay a little more for the stainless steel one. They start, I think, around $600. And they have a sapphire crystal, which is a better, less scratchable crystal. The gold ones have a gold, 18-karat gold alloy body, which, to Apple's credit, is beautifully, amazingly engineered. It is, if you read up on it. It's pretty incredible what they're doing, but it's the same exact electronics. So I think that they'll probably sell quite a few $350 ones. I doubt they'll sell many $17,000. In fact, what a lot of people, including my friend Kevin Rose, are saying is The $17,000 watch does one thing and one thing only. Tells people you have enough money to buy a $17,000 watch. It is not better. It's just more golden. In any event, I think Apple's going to do well. They're thinking around 5 million units in the first quarter. Do the math. If the average cost is around $500, which I suspect it will be, that's a multi-billion-dollar business in the first quarter. So they don't have to do the scale that Apple operates on now. With 75 million iPhones sold in the holiday quarter, 75 million. They're operating on such a big scale. 5 million doesn't look like a lot to them. But $2.5 billion in your pocket? That's not so bad. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. We're going to go back to the phones and talk high tech. We can talk about the watch. We can talk about Meerkat. We're streaming from Meerkat right now. If you at Leo Laporte on Twitter, you can see the behind the scenes of the tech guy, which is mostly Heather sticking her tongue out. Back to the phones right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. If you want to know, and I highly recommend this, if you want to understand what Apple's doing in terms of innovations in metallurgy, really a great article, atomicdelights.com. This guy is a designer out of Portland, and he is obviously experienced in materials and metallurgy. And he's written, I think, just a fascinating blog post based on looking at the video that Apple put out and doing some deduction how the watch is being made. And it's quite interesting. For instance, the technique they're using to make that 18-karat gold harder is a well-known technique called work hardening. So they take the bar, they mill it so that it's very precise, and then they roll it many, many times. Each roll of the ingot reduces it by a few microns, but by compacting it like that, they're changing the metallurgy of it, and they actually they harden it quite a bit. He talks about this. It's really an interesting article. Highly recommended if you're curious about how this is the ultrasonic testing they do to look for defects in the gold. And then they mill it. They have these CNC machines. That's just the gold. He also talks about the aluminum and the steel and the process involved. For instance, the cold forging that they're doing, which makes it stronger than casting. It's really good. And it does kind of, you read that and you go, oh, well, as usual with Apple, they're brilliant in terms of production. But, I don't know if this will make you want one or not, but it's certainly worth reading. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Nathan Staten, our musical director, direct from Louisville, Kentucky. Heather Hammond, our phone ranger. Where are you from, HH?
Ooh, originally?
Yeah.
Iowa City, Iowa.
That's right. She's corn-fed and happy to be here. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. Back to the phones we go. Heather has lined up a great bunch of people, including Will in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Hello, Will.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. Thanks for holding on. What can I do for you?
Actually, I have two questions, one small one and the main one that I called for. I've been watching you, not actually listening to it on the computer right now, but I've been watching your live stream, and I was curious what condenser you're using to record.
What condenser?
Yeah,
I don't even know what you're talking.
You
mean the microphone? It's not a condenser mic. This mic, my microphone, the microphone I love dearly, comes from a friend. Well, he's a friend now. When I first started using it, I didn't know him. My name is Bob Heil. It is not a condenser microphone. So a condenser microphone, which are probably the most common microphones. It's in your phone. It's in your earbuds. It's in everything. They're little tiny microphones, and they're powered. But they're very, very sensitive. They pick up every little sound, and they make a terrible microphone for radio, because in the radio biz, we don't want you to hear every little sound, just me. I should sound like I'm coming to you from an empty void. So we use highly directional dynamic mics. A lot of radio stations still do. the mic used in radio stations for years was from Electro Voice, the RE20. And this is very similar. It's a large coiled diaphragm dynamic microphone called the Heil PR40. And that's all I'm going to say about that since nobody cares. But it does sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds good, I guess.
Bob Heil was Rob Heil's an interesting character. A
I
ham.
didn't realize it was dynamic because
Yeah.
it's exactly like a condenser when you're looking at it.
Well, you can't tell because any microphone, they're going to hide the actual pickup. So it's interesting what a microphone has to do, of course, is capture. Sound is just changes in pressure, air pressure, waves. And the microphone has to somehow sense the changing air pressure and turn it into electric signals. And of course, nowadays, those electric signals are the analog electric signals are turned into bits. So, and that's what we do. We turn them into bits using a telos system called the Axia. So all of our mixers are digital now, which is very cool. It really, it has all sorts of capabilities that still give you, I think, a very accurate reproductive sound. But the Heil PR40, Bob Heil was a rock and roll, started out as a ham, became a rock and roll sound guy. He had a little electronics store, and one day, the Grateful Dead blew an amplifier. They were in town, and their sound guy came to the store and said, "Can you fix the amp?" And Bob went over, did some magic for them, became their sound guy. He did the quadraphonic sound for The Who in Quadrophenia. He created the device that Peter Frampton used to go the voice box. He invented that. Well, I don't know. He didn't invent it, but he made Peter Frampton's and Joe Walsh's. He's very well known in the rock and roll sound sphere. As a ham, though, he always bemoaned the quality of ham microphones. So he started making better mics for hams, and then got into the professional audio, broadcast audio business. And I've been using his mics for years now, and I really prefer them. Most radio stations do not. You know why? They're only $350. And every radio station engineer knows, well, I can't possibly. We're going to get a Neumann for $12,000. That will sound better. Anyway, this is not really a technical question, but I'll be glad to talk about microphones any day. I like them. A lot of us radio types collect microphones. Singers do too. So what can I do for you technically?
Well, my main question that I actually called about is I make videos on YouTube of me playing guitar.
Nice.
I'd like to be able to show multiple shots at once. Like, you have one shot that fills the screen and then one at the bottom corner.
Yeah.
I'm using a MacBook Pro, and I currently have iMovie, but I don't think it will do that. So what I really was wanting to ask you, I don't really know what's out there. I know there's Final Cut, but is that the best?
Well, you don't have a lot of choices on the Mac side. You can, I guess, use Premiere. But Final Cut's $200. I'd go with Final Cut. What you're looking for is picture-in-picture capability, and Final Cut will do that.
Okay.
I should ask if you could do that with iMovie. I don't know. You've looked at see.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah.
You said the other one's Premiere.
Adobe makes a competing product called Premiere. That's what we use here for our videos. But that's mostly because Apple really abandoned the pro market with Final Cut. They've come back in many ways. They've improved it. But initially, they took so much out of it that we couldn't use it anymore. So we had to move to another platform. We're actually using, I'm embarrassed to admit it, Dell Windows machines with Adobe Premiere. We used to be an all-Mac house. But that's how times have changed. In fact, the new movie Focus that just came out is the first movie edited with Final Cut in years. Hollywood used to love Final Cut, but Apple just they turned their back on all the pro producers. In any event, Final Cut's inexpensive, much less than Premiere, and will do what you want it to do. And I would Google picture-in-picture, and you can see what other programs will do that. That's a great idea. What's your? Might as well give you a little plug for your guitar videos.
My channel name is Bradford Soundman, BradfordSoundman.
And what kind of guitar videos are you doing?
Well, actually, they're like covers, like songs that I really like to play. I film myself kind of covering them.
That's neat.
But I'm thinking about getting into like maybe some online guitar lesson type things.
Can you make money on YouTube doing this?
I don't think the covers. No, probably not, because you're using the artist's song.
Right.
So I don't think you can.
Right.
But if I started doing like instructional stuff more than, I think, yeah, you can, as long as you're not using.
You don't put ads on it. You can't put ads on it, because if you did, they would get mad. Oh, somebody's put ads on it. Probably the people who own. That's what happens when you do covers. The people who own the music get a notice that you're using it, and then they have the choice. They can pull you down on YouTube, or they could put ads on it, and then they share the revenue.
I guess I didn't realize there was.
Yeah, that's why you're getting little ads. I'm watching you play the guitar. How fun!
Yeah, I see that on the stream.
How fun! Yeah, that's great. Bradford Soundman on YouTube. Really fun. Good luck. I think. Oh, rocking out! Holy cow! Makes me want to become a guitarist. That's cool. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. I'll help you with your tech issues. Help you become a YouTube star, maybe? No. If I knew how to do that, I would be a YouTube star. 8888 Ask Leo website is techguylabs.com. You'll find a link there to our great chat room. Always lots of people in there. A lot of fun. Kind of like the kids in the back of the class. 8888 Ask Leo. More of your calls coming up right after this. Rock out, Bradford! Do you do anybody who does invoicing? Small business person, freelancer, entrepreneur. I did my own invoicing for years, and I feel your pain. The end of the month comes, and it's like, I don't want to do this. You'll do anything. You'll watch Gilligan's Island reruns before you'll do your invoices. But you know what I've discovered through hard life, school of hard knocks? You don't do an invoice, you don't get paid. Without the invoice, they're not going to send you a check. It really was a pain point until Amber MacArthur actually told me about FreshBooks. This was back when I was going up to Canada every month, and I was bemoaning having to. Not only did I have to invoice the company where I was producing the show, but I had to do it in Canadian dollars, so I had to figure out that. And then I had to get expenses to them. It was crazy. She said, "Oh, Leo, FreshBooks." FreshBooks is a cloud accounting solution that makes it easy to do your invoicing. In fact, on average, FreshBooks customers get paid 5 days faster because they send their invoices out promptly, and they make it easy for their clients to pay. Your client can actually pay you using a credit card or a Stripe. Automated late payment reminders mean that if you do have a slow pay, you'll get paid faster, and you don't have that awkward phone call to make. FreshBooks customers tend, on average, to double their revenue in the first 24 months. What? Yes, because you're smart. If you're still using Word or Excel or Google Docs to create invoices, FreshBooks is the easiest way to create professional-looking invoices in minutes. If you bill for time and hours, the FreshBook apps on iOS or Android make it easy to track your hours and get them right into the invoice automatically. They can also do your receipts. You take pictures of the receipt, get it into the invoice. Makes everything easier. Billing for your time, for your hours, for your expenses, sending those invoices, it's so great. And the reports come tax time, your accountant will love you for that. FreshBooks has great support, too, right from their offices. FreshBooks.com/techguy. You can try it free for 30 days. Just make sure you tell them about the tech guy when they ask, how'd you hear about us? You say, the tech guy. Hey, you told me all about it. FreshBooks.com/techguy. Go there and click that button and start your free 30-day trial. I know you're going to love it. It saved my life. I love doing ads for a client that I have used for years. FreshBooks.com/techguy. Johnny Jett is performing right now from South by Southwest. He is in the Trippett Pavilion. Where are you exactly? You're in Austin, right?
I'm in Austin on a third and Congress.
And do they have, what do they have, a tent? What do they have?
It's actually, they're upstairs. There's a really nice building. I can show you. There's the bar.
Oh, nice.
They're setting up for a happy hour.
And then people are going to come by.
And there's another room over there, and there's my lovely wife.
Hey, Natalie. So what is South by Southwest?
South by Southwest is a huge tech film conference held every year, and music's a huge part of it.
They have three parts. They have music, they have a film festival, and then the middle part is interactive, and that's where the geeks show up.
Right.
And that's going on right now. I know because my Twitter stream is full of geeks.
There are a lot of geeks
in Austin.
Yeah, a lot of my friends are here, and this is my first time coming. Actually,
It's
so
really
it's
fun.
It's
yeah.
a new thing. I actually stayed at Travasa last night, which I know you stayed at in Maui.
I didn't know they have a Travasa in Austin.
It's the only other one, and I had a massage yesterday. I had a Willie Nelson massage because Willie Nelson's from here, and and it had hemp oil. And then my wife had a Janice I know, I got high.
On the table again. Just can't wait to get on the table again.
And then Natalie had a Janis Joplin massage.
Oh, gosh.
Because she's from here.
Oh, Lord.
But anyway.
Won't you buy me? Wow, what does the Janis Joplin massage involve?
I don't know. What was the Janis Joplin massage? Was
Don't
it
tell me.
rose stuff?
Rose.
Oils.
Rose oil. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So anyway, it's pretty cool. The only thing, my tip about staying at Travasa, make sure you get the upper level. There's 3 floors.
Yeah.
You want the top floor because the floors are thin there and you can hear people walking.
Well, I got to tell you, in South by Southwest, anyway, it's just party central. Nobody sleeps all week.
Big time.
It's crazy.
Big time.
Crazy.
But when I got here, I rented a car, and this is my first app for you called Silver Car. I'm sure you heard of it.
Silver Car. I have never heard of it.
Okay, well,
Is this another competition for Uber?
No. This is a competition for Hertz and
it's car rental.
Enterprise car rental. But what I love about it is you download the app,
Yeah.
you fill out a profile real quick,
Yeah.
and it's for right now. They're in Austin, they're in Dallas, in Love Field, and DFW, only airports: Denver Airport, LAX, Miami, Phoenix, and San Francisco. So they charge basically what everyone else is charging, but you get a brand new 2015 Audi 4. A4.
Oh, I have an Audi. Lisa has.
Do you?
I love my Audi. Oh, that's nice.
And so when you land, you have your bag. All you do is get on the app, and you tell them where you are. They send either a valet or they have a shuttle, depending on the airport.
Oh, you don't have to hunt down the rental.
No.
The hut.
So they pick you up, they bring you to their place, and then you just take your phone, you scan the QR code on one of their 60 cars. They had 60 cars here in Austin.
Oh, you mean you don't have to wait in line and?
No waiting in line.
Oh, this is better, isn't it?
So these guys are revolutionizing car rental. And
this is like Uber. What Uber did to taxis, they're doing a car rental, Silver Car.
And they're super friendly. And then
Nice.
and it was the same price as everyone else here. But what you get is you get free GPS, you get free Wi-Fi, you get free satellite radio.
Wait, Wi-Fi in the car?
Yes, you get free toll. They have a toll tag, so whatever tolls you do, they just
you
charge
need that
for
in
it.
Texas because there's toll roads everywhere. Well, that's good.
And my favorite part so far is like, okay, when you're done with the car, if you don't want to fill up the gas, we'll do it for you. Charge you the same price as a regular gas station and add $5.
Oh, I like that.
When regular car rental companies, they usually charge you $10 or $12
they get you,
a gallon.
don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody in the chat room wants to know: are they as good at keeping the reservation as they are at taking the reservation?
Well,
that's a little Seinfeld.
This is my first time booking them, and I just booked it at the one of the busiest times of the year, and I had no problems.
Anybody could take a reservation.
That is true.
If you can keep the reservation, that's the trick.
I think I like their attitude.
Good. I had no idea. I go to Austin a lot. I'm gonna do this. That's great.
Well, you can do it in San Francisco. You can do it in Dallas or Miami or Phoenix.
Yeah. Not New York yet. Not New York yet.
No, they're not in New York, but I heard they're going to expand to New York, and they're trying Seattle.
I like it.
They're exploring it. They haven't done it yet.
Okay, so that in a way you've covered everything because that's both an app and a website. But go ahead, give us a website.
All right, so resortfeechecker.com.
Resortfeechecker.com. You know what? How long have you been doing this? For years, and you have yet to run out of new unheard websites.
Well, I got thousands.
Resort Fee. I got a million of them. So what do we do here?
One of my pet peeves when I travel is get stuck with a resort fee.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hotels in Las Vegas.
Right, you can't use the pool
Hawaii,
unless you pay $50 a day.
Well, actually, a lot of them won't even let you into the hotel.
What?
So
wait a minute. I have a room, but I can't go in the hotel until I pay a resort fee?
Well, they'll make you pay it. So what you got to do is you can look at, there's websites you can go to like this to find out if they do charge a resort fee. If they don't, if they do, you can either book another hotel, but chances are in that destination, you're going to
in
choose
Vegas,
a different
everybody
destination.
does. We're going to the Venetian next week. Let me see what the Venetian.
So type that in and see what they say.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be $25. It'll tell you what it includes.
Venetian Resort and Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Resort fee, $29 per room per night. It does include fitness center access, internet access, newspaper phone calls. There's a refrigerator fee, $25 a day.
Oh, that's if you want to take the mini bar out. Usually,
to take it out.
Stocking fee. Usually take all the goods out so you can have an empty refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly on this property.
You know
but
what I
know a lot
hate?
of them,
And I think they all do this in Vegas. I guess because people go to Vegas, steal mini bar food. They have
evil mini bars.
They have like sensors in the mini bar, and if you just move something, boom, you paid for it. $20 for a bag of nuts.
After 20 seconds
Boom.
of lifting it up,
You can't
they
put it
charge
back.
but you can put it back, and you can definitely fight it. So before you check out, you got to make sure that they don't charge you for it. And
Take a picture with your smartphone and bring it down to the little desk. Say, look, I put it back.
Well, you can fight it, definitely, but you got to fight it while you're there. Don't wait till you get home. So make sure you look at your bill before checking out.
Wow. All right. This is good stuff. So that's resortfeechecker.com.
Yep. And Silvercar is the app.
And Silvercar is the app. And Johnny Jet is at South by Southwest. And if you're in Austin this week, go to the Trippett booth on 3rd Street. Or not booth. You've got a bar.
No, we're at the Trippett tent. I guess they call it. Trippett Lounge. And actually, my wife is telling me that's the hashtag Trippett Lounge.
Hashtag Trippett Lounge. I love Trippett. You tell those folks there. I use Trippett like crazy. Trippett is.
Well, the Trippett Pro is awesome.
I've been a Trippett Pro user for years.
It organizes all your travel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I use it.
I let it go through my mail for me.
I get an update if the airline if my flight's gonna be delayed, gates changed, or canceled before the airline tells me because of Trippett Pro.
And family members. So I have confirmation. My daughter went to New York City. I have her confirmation sent to me. So Trippett automatically adds it to her itinerary. And I just got a note from Trippett. She should check in for her flight. Abby, check in for your flight. This is great. I love it.
If you travel a lot, it's well worth the $49.
JohnnyJet.com. It's well worth it, and it's free. That's his website. You can go there and sign up for his free travel newsletter, travel deals. There's also a place there to find good deals on airfares and hotels. And, of course, he talks about all the stuff he talks about on our show. And he's also on Twitter at JohnnyJet. He's on Instagram, JohnnyJet. And are you going to get Meerkat? Because everybody's doing it. You know,
everyone's talking about it right now. Actually, I started signing up yesterday, and then I got sidetracked with my Willie Nelson massage.
You should have Meerkatted that. On the table again. Get on the road and get your Meerkat. We want to see behind the scenes at the Trippett tent. Thank you, Johnny. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo. More of your calls coming up right after this. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Questions, comments, suggestions, more than welcome. Dolores, Van Nuys, California. You're next. Thanks for hanging on. Hi, Dolores.
Hi, Leo. Well, I hope you can help me. I'm kind of at the bottom of the tech schedule, and So
you're saying when you get to the bottom of the barrel, you call me?
No, I meant the bottom of the tech. In
terms of tech of knowledge.
Knowledge.
Oh no, don't worry about that.
No,
when it comes to technology, we're all dummies.
Oh well, anyway, I have a home office and I have minimal activity. I have a computer printer and I have a land phone and I got a new 6 Plus Apple and so I was wondering on my I'm paying $30 a month for the computer connection and $60 for my land phone, and I was wondering if you had any suggestions how I could get a land phone for less.
Oh yeah. That's a lot for a phone, $60.
I thought so.
Yeah. Do you use the phone a lot?
No, not a whole lot.
I do like it that you keep your landline, and I'll tell you why, for emergency reasons. I tell my mom this, too. She lives in Rhode Island, and there have been storms and stuff. The power goes out. If you have a landline and you have an unpowered phone, a phone you don't plug into the electricity, it'll continue to work even during an outage. The phone company provides the power. So for emergency reasons alone, a landline is a good thing to have. But you don't, interestingly, have to get your landline from the phone company anymore. There are internet service providers who will provide, and I don't know if it's available in Van Nuys, but you could call our sponsor. They offer it, DSL Extreme. There are others who do it as well. Something called Fusion Service, which gives you internet and landline service together. You're paying $90 for the two. It'd be less than. It'd be a lot less than that.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, no.
It's good to have a landline. I don't want you to get rid of it. The young people today don't even know what a landline is sometimes because they all have cell phones. They say, "What do I need to get a phone for? I have a cell phone," and that's true as long as your cell phone's working. But for emergencies, I think it's a nice that you can't. You call 911 on a cell phone. They don't necessarily know where you are. Right, because you move around. A landline, they always know where you are. Power goes out, cell phone may or may not work, depending on how the power is to the cell tower. So, I like having a landline. I told my mom, keep your landline.
Oh, good. If I get a iPad, would I need additional service?
You want to get a Wi-Fi access point on your internet service, and then you can use as many devices as you want, your iPhone, your iPad, and your computer, on one connection. It's called Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
It's wireless internet. Everything uses it now.
I see.
In fact, increasingly, we're not seeing hardwire Ethernet anymore. You have to use Wi-Fi. So, who does your internet right now?
AT&T. They do them both.
They do a U-verse or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. AT&T is taking you for a ride.
Well, that's why
do you get TV service too for that price?
For $90, the only thing I get is my computer connection and my landline.
Wow, that is not a good deal. I would call AT&T and say I want to get a cheaper landline. The landline shouldn't cost you more than $27.
Oh, big difference.
Yeah, that's really, I don't know why that's so expensive. And you can even, if you don't use the landline much, get Lifeline service. They're required by the state of California. Many states require this to provide very inexpensive Lifeline service for exactly this reason, that it's a lifeline. And so you might have some income qualifications, but Lifeline discount is really a good deal. If you're on a fixed income, it shouldn't be too hard. You might check, I'm seeing the chat room saying CenturyLink, which is available in your area, $65 a month. You get Wi-Fi and landline, $65 a month. So there are many better choices. You might contact your cable company and see what they offer as a phone and internet bundle.
I don't have the cable.
Yeah, and you know what? They're not cheap either.
No. You said that the other one was a CenturyLink.
CenturyLink. You might check with them. Yeah.
Okay. And then also the DSL, I will.
DSL Extreme, you can call them. They're a sponsor. Little disclaimer there. I don't want anybody to think I'm giving them a free plug. Oh. Well, actually, I am. But I know they're in your area, and I don't know if they offer Fusion in your area. That's limited geographically, but if they have that, that's a good deal.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Oh, I knew you could help me.
You want wireless internet, Wi-Fi, because that means all your devices, you get as many as you want, iPad, iPhone. And iPad's a good choice for you, I think.
Oh, I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's nice to talk to you. Thanks for hanging on. I appreciate it, Dolores. Cecil, Palmdale, California. You're next. Hi, Cecil.
Hey, Leo. Thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I am calling for the last year or two. I have been using LastPass after listening to your show and really like generating good passwords and having just to remember the one. But I had a question. I was staying up I was at a conference last month, and at this conference center hotel, they have Wi-Fi, and several times a day I was logging into it. And every time I was signing in, I was getting this disclaimer from the hotel saying, hey, just be aware that access that you do on this can be seen by others.
Yeah.
And it just started me thinking, well, is that good for me to be logging into LastPass? Because I've got
you're safe with LastPass. You're safe with anywhere that's using what's called SSL, or sometimes you'll see HTTPS if you go to a bank or Amazon. That means it's secure, and even if you're on an open Wi-Fi access point, it's encrypted. LastPass is absolutely encrypted between you and LastPass. In fact, LastPass is the reason I recommend it. They can't even see it, so only you can see anything unencrypted on your computer. LastPass can't even see it unencrypted, so you're safe there.
that is great to know.
Oh, yeah, and that's, believe me, I wouldn't recommend something that didn't. That would be very risky. You'd be sending all your passwords through the internet unencrypted. That'd be terrible.
Right. So I never need to be worried about whether I'm at a hotel one place and a conference center the next day or at a school the next, regardless of whatever Wi-Fi system I'm logging into.
LastPass is secure. But you should be aware that other stuff might not be. For instance, you want to make sure, and everybody should be thinking about this, that your email provider, whoever that is, encrypts as well, because you don't. One of the things that really is risky would be sending an unencrypted email password over a wireless network or a public network, because that if somebody got your email password, you never change it, they'd have access to everything, because they could go to websites and say, oh, I forgot, send me my new password, and they have your email, they can get it. So if you're using Gmail, almost all mail services now are encrypted. Outlook is encrypted. But if you're using your own internet service provider, just make sure that that's encrypted as well. You want the password encrypted, and even better, you want all the emails encrypted. And that's on an open network. Nobody can see it.
Excellent. You made me feel better. Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's interesting. I understand that Google, in the next version of Android 5.1, is planning to build, in effect, a VPN into Android devices, which would make everything encrypted, so you could use it safely on any open access point. Sometimes people do pay for a VPN service. That does it too. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. You might have used it at logging into work. Many businesses use VPNs to provide secure access to the work computers. You can use that to access the internet securely as well. I think nowadays people are very aware of this issue, and as long as the stuff you want to keep private is SSL, is HTTPS, is secure, encrypted, you're fine. And then they see that you're browsing, shoe stores or something. It doesn't matter, nothing there. But you want passwords to be protected. You want credit card numbers to be protected. You want email especially to be protected, that kind of thing. And that's, by the way, why we were so upset about Lenovo. Because that stuff they put on those Lenovo, they don't do it anymore. Those Lenovo consumer laptops, Superfish, broke SSL. It intercepted even encrypted traffic. And that's why that was such a horrific thing to do and why they got such heat. They've stopped doing it. If you have a Lenovo laptop, you should download the removal tool and make sure it's removed from your system, because it does give an attacker the opportunity to intercept your secure traffic. And that's a no-no. That's a bad thing. 8888 Ask Leo, the website. We put all this information on the website. Please use it. TechGuyLabs.com. It's free. There's no sign-up. I'm not collecting any personal information. It's just there to help you so you don't have to remember everything I say or write it all down. You don't have to remember the number. You don't have to remember our chat room address. It's all at TechGuyLabs.com, even audio and video from every show after the show. So you miss a show? No problem. No problem. More of your calls to come. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, Apple Watches. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536. It's Pi Day. Pi Day, pi, the magic number that is the ratio. Let me see if I can get this right. Remember back to high school geometry, of the circumference of a circle divided by its diameter. And it's, for some reason, no matter how big or small the circle, it always is 3.14159, and on and on and on. Or I think it's 22 sevenths is another way to do it. 3.14159 is pi. And they call this Pi Day because it's 3/14/15. 3.14. It won't be this away for another 100 years, 20, and that's right, 21/15 will be 3/14/15. So enjoy it. And tonight, if you want to do like 9 digits of pi, you should, what time was it? It's 9:26, I think, something like that. So happy Pi Day. And, it's just an excuse to have a piece of pie, if you ask me. And that's what I did. Thanks. Microsoft sent me pie. Thank you, Microsoft. They're trying to fatten me up. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. We were talking a little bit about Meerkat. That is all the rage right now. It's a video streaming application for iPhone only It's really interesting. It still happens that an application just takes the world by storm. And I don't know what it is that makes it happen. I don't know how. If we knew, if we could bottle it, everybody to have a viral hit. But they come and go so fast. Remember Flappy Bird? Everybody was playing it, then nobody was playing it. Draw Something from OMG Pop. That was such a success that Zynga bought OMG Pop on the basis of one game for hundreds of millions of dollars. But then it was over because everybody's moved on. It's it's an interesting phenomenon. We live in this odd era of instant celebrity and instant viral game hit. The same thing with videos, right? There's a video circulating right now about the Apple Watch, and you're going to get it in your email for months to come. It's a clip from a Spanish language television show where a guy, it's in Spanish, so no one knows what the guy's saying, and the guy's telling a long story about, well, it turns out if you understand Spanish, he's talking about losing his paella pan in the ocean surf. And he's laughing out of control. But what somebody's done is subtitle it, Apple engineer talks about the new MacBook. And the premise of it is it was all a big mistake, but Tim Cook loved it, and so we're selling it. And he can't stop laughing hysterically. You'll see it if you haven't seen it. I, for one, am kind of interested in this new MacBook. Apple announced it on Monday. It'll be available for purchase April 10th. Not cheap. The starting model is $1,299, $1,300. And I think in this day and age, that's a lot for a notebook computer. But get this. As expensive as it is, you're paying a lot for less functionality. And I think Apple might have a point here. It's only 2 pounds. It's very thin. I think it's 13 millimeters thick. It's very, very thin. Very, very light. It's kind of like an iPad almost, but it's got a full keyboard, a nice screen. What was it? Was it 12 inches? It's a 12-inch screen. The weird thing about it is, and Apple's getting a little heat. First of all, it's a fairly low-power processor, the Intel Core i5M, the mobile processor. So it uses very little power. The idea is to get great battery life. By the way, I don't know yet. If they say 9 hours, I guess that's pretty good. There are better laptops for battery life out there. There are thinner laptops out there. There are lighter laptops out there. But the weirdest thing is instead of having USB ports and video ports, this thing has one port. It has a headphone jack, and on the other side it has a power jack. That's it. No USB. Except that the power jack is kind of weird. And in a way, I'm excited about this because I think other companies will start adopting this. It's the new USB connector. It's the first time I've seen Apple or really any laptop company do a non-proprietary power adapter. You know how you always have to spend like $90 or $100 if you lose your power adapter on your laptop? Because only, you have to get the exact right one. And with Apple, you can only get it from Apple because they patent the thing and no one else can make a MagSafe adapter. Well, for the first time in living memory, Apple has decided to use a standard for its power. And I'm hoping others do this too. They're using a new USB connector called Type-C. And it has some things really great about it. For one thing, it's reversible. You know how annoying it is? How many times you try to get for some reason, it's always upside down, the USB connector. Always. Whether it's on your phone or you're the big one on your computer. It's always. You have to flip it. My friend Jason said, it takes 3 times. You try once, it doesn't go in. You flip it around, it doesn't go in. Then you flip it back, and oh yeah, there it works. It takes 3 times every time. I don't know why that is. It's like the bread always falling butter side down. Inevitably, you're going to put it in upside down. And the one time you put it in right, you feel like victory. Well, this new one doesn't matter. It's like a lightning connector, the Apple proprietary iPhone connector. It goes in either way. Doesn't matter. Nice. And it's faster. It's USB 3.1, so it's very fast. 10 gigabits per second, and in some cases, I think on the MacBook this is the case. 2 channels of 10 gigabits each. It can do up to 100 watts power, so it could power a laptop, but it could power a phone, and it's 2 ways. So you could charge your phone and charge your laptop with the same connector. Also has video. You can use HDMI video out of it. So it's really an interesting kind of multi-use connector. That's great, but there's only one of them. So that means if you're charging your computer, you can't do anything else until you're done. Or you can, and smart move on Apple's part, for $79, buy a special little connector that gives you, plug it into your Type-C connector on your new MacBook, and then it gives you another Type-C connector for power, an HDMI port for video, and a standard USB connector for your hard drive or your thumb drive or whatever. Additional $79. They should put that in the package. They're making $12.99. Anyway, I think this is. I'm excited. I'm interested. I'm not going to buy one right away, but I'm going to check it out. If you're looking for a simple light notebook, I think there are people who don't do all. I think about how long has it been since I've connected anything to my notebook? It's been a while. Maybe an SD card slot. That would be nice. We shall see. Apple is getting a lot of heat for this, and in some quarters, laughter, hysterical laughter, and others. And my initial reaction is, must have. Others are getting just kind of I can't wait to get it. I'm going to wait. I think my wife wants one. I'm going to get one for her, and see how she's my guinea pig. See what she thinks. Maybe pay attention to it. Review it. I'm actually more interested in this new Google Chromebook. Now, this is also overpriced, $1,000, but it has two Type-C connectors. Apple should have done that. One on each side, so you could put power in on either side, and then you have the other Type-C connector on the other side for anything else, USB data or charging your phone or whatever. I really like this Chromebook Pixel that Google just announced, but I am a changed man on Chromebooks. When I first saw the Chromebooks, the idea is this is basically just a Chrome browser. And you can only do what you would do in a browser. But it turns out that's what most people do with their computers. They browse the internet, get email through the web browser. Chrome allows you to add applications, large variety of applications through plugins. That's it. That's all you can do. And yet it's pretty darn functional. And by the way, 9 hours battery life on the MacBook. This Chromebook, it's a little bigger and heavier. 12 hours. I'm getting 12 hours on it between charges. I like that. Anyway, that's okay. There you go. The latest tech news. Now let's get back to the phones. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your call's next. 100 watts. Now, I've seen conflicting reports. I think that means 5 volts by 20 amps. But I saw somebody, I think was on CNET or TechCrunch, say 20 volts by 5 amps. I think that must have been a typo. Can't use Lightroom, can't use Photoshop. There are photo editing programs, and of course you have Google's Photos, which is getting better and better. But no, I wouldn't use this in lieu of, although I know people who do, in lieu of a desktop. But see, I have a desktop as well. So I can't really do much computer programming on this. I can do, it does allow me to do, let me log into I'll change this screen real quickly as I log into Google. It's a gorgeous screen. It's touch too, which is nice. And it's becoming more and more like a real operating system. So, you've got apps kind of, sort of. You've even got a start menu, which is kind of fun. Let's see, what should I? What's a good app to launch? I don't have any here, I'll launch my music. It's got good speakers. One of the nice things about this touch screen is it supports pinch and zoom now, which it didn't used to. But that's kind of nice. Really good keyboard and trackpad. USB-C plus standard USB 3, headphone jack, SD card. And I find that most of what I do now, for instance, I can launch the Photos app. Most of what I do, I can do in here. So let's take a photo. Here's a video of a time lapse of my drive in. Why is that sideways? Let's see. So, as an example, I can edit that and turn it right side up. Google's getting better and better at providing, things you can do here. Where's the edit button? Where is the edit button? I thought I could edit this. Because it's video. That's right. So let's take a picture instead. Here's a picture. And now I can reverse it. Or I can edit it. Share it. It's good. It's kind of cool. I even have, if I do this, I can SSH into my my Linux server, so I can have a command line. I can do anything I could do on Linux without actually installing Linux on it, which is kind of cool. Our show today brought to you by Personal Capital. I am a big fan of the guys who started Personal Capital. Met Bill Harris and his team a couple of years ago. Bill was on the show, and I've hung out with him since. He was one of the early founders of PayPal. It was Bill and Elon Musk that founded PayPal. He was CEO of PayPal for a while. Later went on to be CEO of Intuit. This guy is bright, and he also knows money, right? And one of the things that Bill thought and realized is that people needed a little bit of help. So he started. It was about 2 years ago, because I remember we didn't talk about it much, but he mentioned it as he was leaving, and I signed up then. Love it. Personalcapital.com. I guess the problem Bill saw is that, of course, everybody's planning for the future. Everybody wants to invest, to save, to build up a rainy day fund, maybe to buy a house or ultimately to retire. You should be doing that. If you're not, well, you at least do that. But the problem is how? And there's geeks like me who say, I'm going to do it all myself using automated tools. I'm going to open, And then there's people who go to it and say, oh, no, I don't understand. I got to get a human to do this for me. And both alternatives are fraught with peril. You may be charged high fees. There may be all sorts of hidden costs. Your traditional broker, they talk, you don't, and they're lining their pockets, and you don't know. And literally they could be taking years off of your retirement at some point. Personal Capital is free. It's totally secure. You go there, you put all your accounts, your brokerage accounts, your checking, your charge cards, your mortgage, everything in there. Now, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to see where you stand. You will know for the first time, for me anyway, your net worth. You'll see how the money's flowing in and out. It helps with budgeting, and that's completely free. They also have tools that will analyze your 401k and see if you're paying too much for your 401k. It'll help you balance your investments. And then, if you wish, you don't have to do this, but if you put more than $100,000 into that dashboard with all of the accounts all together, if your net worth is more, your asset worth is more than $100,000, most of you it is, you can get a free 30-minute review from one of their advisors. They have really good uncommissioned financial advisors, and they'll give you a free 30-minute review. They'll talk about your financial goals, your risk tolerance, what your horizon is for your retirement. This is something new. I don't know how long they're going to do this. It's worth doing this, but you've got to start by going to personalcapital.com/techguy and get your stuff in there, and you'll at least know where you stand. If you qualify for that 30-minute free call, that is really worth doing. And you can get tailored advice on optimizing your investments. You can also open an investment account with them if you wish and invest, but that's all up to you. It's free to use. Personalcapital.com/techguy, and the results absolutely will benefit you for the rest of your life. I'm really grateful to Bill for getting me started with it, and I encourage you to try it. Personalcapital.com/techguy. It's free. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Gregory is in Long Beach, our next caller. Hi, Gregory.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay, man. I've been waiting for your show forever and a day.
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate your information.
Thank you again. What can I do for you?
I'm the bargain hunter tech guy.
Uh-huh. You want a deal, huh?
No, I'm telling you how I do the bargain hunting to get the high tech stuff.
How do you do that?
I went to St. Vincent de Paul and got me the JBL S160 surround sound system for like $80.
That's actually a great idea. Because people turn in their old stuff to charity for a charity.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you get a good deal on it, and St. Vincent de Paul raises money. I think that's a great idea.
I got the JBL S160 surround sound $500 system for $80.
Wow.
Power subwoofer half as big as the milk crate.
Everybody's winning on that one.
I'm telling you. Then I got the Integra 5.9 amp at the Goodwill for $50.
So you got a nice sound system. What's your TV?
I got the 57-inch Sony big screen.
No, wait a minute. Now you didn't get a good deal on that.
No. The 57-inch Sony big screen, 57-inch 1080i for $100.
$100?
$100, $120.
So now you've got a big screen HD surround sound system for under $500.
That's why I roll with it, Rick, and that helps me.
So what can I do to help you with that?
Okay, now I got the 1080 57-inch Sony, which works great picture-in-picture 1080i. I'm using a government box for my video in, so I've never seen 1080i on my TV.
Can you pick up the phone because I'm hearing some conversation in the background there.
Okay.
Speakerphone's picking all that other stuff up. I don't want to eavesdrop on your.
Okay, well I'm at work. Okay, now I want to get I don't have no 1080i coming into my TV. Only that government box, the government TV 740.
Yeah. But you know what? 720p is 1080i. It doesn't matter. When you get 1080i, you're going to see it at 720p on your TV. You're not going to see 1080p.
I got the government box, the free TV, with the 740. That's the input to the TV tuner. I don't have a 1080i coming in.
What do you have, a 740? What's that?
You know the government issued those.
Yeah, I understand, but what is the 740?
Isn't that the output for the TV?
No, it's 720p. It's fine. That's all your TV can handle anyway.
Even though it's 1080i?
Yeah, I know this is very confusing, so I got to kind of explain this, and Scott Wilkinson's always explaining it to me, and I may do this imperfectly. But what we're talking about is interlaced versus progressive, I versus P. So old school television sets, the ones we watched when we were kids, those are interlaced. That's because in the early days of television, the TV wasn't fast enough to do all the lines at once. It would draw half the lines. I know this is crazy. Sounds crazy talk. It was a cathode ray tube, and you had an electron gun, and it would draw half the lines on the screen, and then the screen would go off briefly. The electron gun would go back up, and it would draw the other half, draw the odd ones and the even ones. And it would do that 60 times a second. So you get 30 full frames every second, 60 fields is what they called them per second, interlaced. Now, if you're looking at a computer screen, it's not interlaced. In fact, if you watch interlaced video on a computer screen, you're going to say, that looks terrible. You did. We just didn't know any better. Persistence of vision and the way a cathode ray tube worked, it didn't matter that it would draw half of it and the other half of it. It looked like a full picture to us. But in truth, it wasn't a very good picture. So interlaced video is not a great picture. Your 1080i set means it's 1080 interlaced. Cut that in half is actually how many lines total. So basically, a 1080i TV, the best resolution almost all of them can handle is 720 lines of resolution from top to bottom. The old days of broadcast television, interlaced, it was 400 lines or less or fewer per screen. A DVD is 480 progressive lines. 480p was what we call them. HD begins at 720p, and there is 1080p, but your set doesn't do it. Your set is a 1080i set. That's saying I can take a 1080 as an input as rich as 1,080 interlaced lines. But that's not, if you look at the resolution of the screen, its capability, it's probably can only really do 720 lines top to bottom. That's what you're getting from your government box. That's what your TV wants to see. You're golden. You could have a better box and you wouldn't see any difference. And the other thing is that the TV that it's getting through the airwaves is 1080i anyway. It's not getting 1080p. So in other words, don't worry. You're getting all the lines that are coming through the air. You're seeing them on your screen. I hope I haven't confused you, because I've confused myself at this point. But the bottom line is you're getting every bit of the TV signal that you should be getting, and getting a better box would not change that because of the television. Now, all modern HD TVs are 1080p. If you were to go to the store and you buy a Vizio or an LG or a Sony or a Samsung, they'd be almost all of them are 1080p. But it doesn't really matter, because very few broadcast signals are 1080p. Very few cable signals are 1080p. It's just too much data. So the best you can hope for is 1080i or 720p. I would just say, I love what I'm getting. I got it for cheap, and go with it. Flo in Olathe, Kansas. Hi, Flo.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful. We're having great weather, aren't we?
Isn't that nice?
It's wonderful.
Spring has finally hit Kansas.
Spring is here.
Was it a cold winter?
It was long.
Yeah.
It was long.
It was, wasn't it?
Went on forever.
Oy. Almost as long as that description of 1080i versus 720p.
I really enjoyed that.
I gotta come up with a better. I need some metaphors there.
No, I think you did great. I think it was great.
Yay. What can I do for you?
So my mother my mother was a writer, and she had an old word processor back in the 90s, and she wrote a lot of stories.
Are they on
A
floppies?
couple of years ago. Huh?
Are they on floppies?
Yeah.
All right. Hang on. We're going to take a break for the bottom of the hour. When we come back,
okay,
we'll figure out some way to get your mother's great American novel off of those floppy disks.
That's great. I appreciate it.
I have a few floppies myself.
Thank you, Leo.
Hang on just a second. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Lots more of your calls to come in the GizWiz, our gadget guru, coming up in about 15 minutes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Flo's on the line from, is it Olathe? Am I saying that right?
Olathe.
Olathe.
Yeah.
What is Olathe?
It's in Kansas.
Ew, you don't know, do you? You live in this town.
Have you ever heard of Overland Park?
Yeah.
That's a little more famous. We're right outside of Overland Park.
I want to say Olathe is like a muse or something, like Nepenthe or something. It's like a Greek thing.
No, I think it's an Indian word.
Oh, maybe it's an Indian word.
Yeah, I think it's an Indian word.
Okay. Anyway, your mom, now, these are novels, short stories?
Short stories.
That's great. Was she published, or did she just do this because she loved it?
Oh, she wanted to be published. She passed away, so she wasn't published. That's one of the reasons I want to get some of her stories.
Sure. Now, they're on floppies, but so floppies is not so hard if it's a standard format. You just...
Right.
But the problem is, she did it on a word processor. What kind of word processor?
It was an IBM word processor.
Was it an IBM computer?
No, it was just a word.
It was a standalone word processor.
Yeah. And I took her into the 20th century back when the word processor died, and I got her a computer.
Right. And those disks would be easy to recover.
Exactly. And I've got a floppy drive, and a lot of the disks I've been able to go in and get them, but there's about 20 disks that are just in a format that the computer just won't even read. Right.
Because IBM, in their infinite wisdom, used a non-standard format. Well, you know what? In their defense, there probably wasn't a standard format at the time.
No, you're probably right.
Is it the same size as the little plastic diskettes, or is it a bigger one?
No, it's a 3.5 floppy. It's the same size.
Right. Okay, so that's good news. At least the physical disc you can use.
Right. I've got it here. I just can't get into it.
So the trick is going to be to figure out the brand or the model of word processor that your mom was using.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. All I know is it was an IBM. That's the only thing. That's all I know.
Wow.
It was that long ago, you know.
Yeah, and you don't want to wait too long because, as you probably already figured out, The way a floppy works, much like magnetic tape, it's got a ferrite kind of coating on Mylar, and it flakes after a while.
Exactly.
And they're wearing out. Yeah, they're wearing out. So you may get one shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. I want to be able to get to these, and there was one document that I was reading that I was able to get into, and she was talking about some stories that she thought she had written, and they were on those floppies that she couldn't get into. And so it's been years that she's been trying to get these formatted, but she was very, very low, as that other woman said, very low on the text.
Yeah, I know how that feels. You know, no matter where you are in the tech ladder, there's always somebody higher. You always feel low.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a real challenge because can you see the diskettes at all?
Oh yeah, I can.
I mean, when you put the diskette in, can you see stuff on them?
No. When I
they
put
look
it
blank
and try to open it, it asks me if I want to format it.
Yeah, don't obviously.
And when I say no, then it says that it's in a format that's not recognizable.
Right. So there are two possibilities. It could be that the disks have died. You said that most of the disks you were able to get the data off of? Yeah,
there was a bunch that, like I said, I kind of got her into the 20th century years ago. Those I'm able to get into because those were on an old Windows 95 computer that I hooked up for her.
Yeah.
But the ones prior to the Windows 95 computer, I can't get into.
Yeah, they're going to be so those were on a file system that Windows can read, FAT16 or FAT32.
Exactly.
But the problem is IBM, we don't know what they formatted. There are companies that do this. And
are there?
Yeah. And depending on how much you want it, you can pay for it to get done. And the way they, in often cases, do this is they have and one of the reasons it can be expensive, they have the hardware. They may even have that word processor, right?
Yeah. And that's I was thinking about that. I was thinking about seeing if I can find an old IBM word processor.
Right. There's a company, datarecoverymasters.com.
Okay.
The issue is not the file format. That would be fairly easy to solve. The issue is you can't even read the disk because it's not in a FAT table. It's some proprietary format.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what I would suggest is going to somebody that specializes in data recovery or data. There are a lot of companies that will read old disks because there's people with zip disks but no zip drives. There's people who put data on VHS tapes. And there's all sorts of strange things.
The chat room, somebody in the chat room suggested putting it on a zip drive or a super drive. But
no, you can't because you can't read. Yeah, they don't understand. That person doesn't understand the issue. If you could see the data, you'd be fine. You can't read the data because IBM's word processors did not use a standard file format. They used something besides FAT. I doubt it was OS2, or I doubt it's anything anybody would know about these days.
I don't think a virtual machine would help or the Linux.
No, because your hardware can't read it. You can't read it.
That's what I was thinking.
If you could go and download the operating system for the IBM word processor, and if it used the same process as a modern computer, which it didn't, blah, 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 you can't.
Right, exactly.
So, for instance, some people are saying that some early IBM word processors, even the byte format of the text was not standard. It was EBCDIC instead of ASCII.
Right, that's what I was just looking at. That.
Yeah, well, EBCDIC, I mean, that's easy to read. Again, if you can read it off the disk, you're going to be able to figure out what's in there. That's not a hard thing to do. It's getting it off the disk, and I am not sure. The best thing to do would be go to someone who has figured out, what format this is. If we knew exactly what word processor she used, you could Google that, and you might be able to get some more information.
Display writer there. That person put there the IBM display writer.
Right, that
doesn't sound like it.
What year was this? Do you know?
It looks like it was like 90s. I'm thinking.
Oh, so it's not that old.
No, early. Well, she had it for years.
Well,
But I
that's the
think
problem. It's not.
died
It's
in,
not when
like,
she was using it. It's when it was made. I guess is the
exactly.
issue.
Exactly. So I think it probably would have been in the early '90s is when it was manufactured.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in the chat room, so you see the suggestions. We'll put those suggestions in our show notes at techguylabs.com. And all I could say is let's find somebody who knows this and go to the website techguylabs.com and comment. It'll be hour 3 of this episode for March 14th, and maybe somebody will have a suggestion. I'll keep looking. If I can find something, I will. But it would be easiest if you could figure out what, like maybe there's a picture of Mom sitting down at the keyboard.
She didn't do pictures.
Mom, you're making this hard on us, Mom. I love this project. I think this is so great, and I honor you for doing it. It's absolutely worth it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I think it's great to do, and but the technical issue is you're going to have another issue once you get the data off of it, reading it. But that's relatively easy compared, and you can do that with software. It's getting that data off the drive that's tricky.
Right, exactly.
You may even need it may not merely be the file format. It may literally mean you need hardware from that model word processor even to read the disk.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Try Data Recovery Masters. At least give them a call. Maybe they can help. Leo Laporte, good luck, the tech guy. He's the GizWiz, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. He has a penchant for gadgets, for gizmos. And every week he joins us to show us something. Sometimes they're wildly useful, and then I immediately buy them and regret that.
Okay.
Sometimes, fortunately, I can see no possible use. Jeff Needles, your producer for the GizWiz podcast, as a gift, got me the butter slicer. You remember that?
Oh, okay.
You put a stick of butter in it, and it has a handle. And it has a little slicer in it, and you just perfect pats of butter, like you're working at McDonald's or something. Thank you, Jeff.
It's good practice in case the podcast empire goes down the drain.
I started. My first job was working at Mickey D's. Worked there for a few years as a high school and college kid. And to this day, whenever I go to McDonald's, if I see a help wanted ad, I make a mental note of that.
I would.
You never know. I'm not joking. You think I'm not joking?
Come on, your career is set for life.
Yeah, you start thinking that, and then the next thing you know, you're working at McDonald's again. What do you got for us?
I was out at a Global Pet Expo.
Oh, good.
This is Orlando.
Sure to be useful.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you have cats or a very small dog.
I have a very small dog that could be a cat, yeah.
Okay. There's a company called PetMate. They're at pet-mate.com. They have an assortment of cat and dog doors that are so high-tech. The latest one they introduced at the show is called the CatMate Elite Microchip Cat Door.
I need this, and you know why? We live in the country, and I haven't been able to put a cat or dog door in because I'll get critters in the house.
Okay. And does Ozzy already have an ID chip?
No, but if I'd get him chipped just to use this. So
it doesn't need it. You can buy a little tag that'll be the same. But if your dog already has a chip or your cat has a chip, you take the front of the door off, you hit program, you hold your dog or your cat up to the door.
Does he have to go in ear first from now on?
No. It registers his, RFID technology. It registers the chip or the disc he's wearing. But, Leo, this is what's amazing. Their highest model, you can say, okay, Floppy, you can go out until 10 p.m. because I know you always come home. But Fido, you go out and you never come back till 7 a.m. Your door locks at 9 p.m.
You better make sure the dog's in the house.
Yes. Well, you look at the top, and it shows each tag and an arrow. If the arrow's pointing in, the dog is in or the cat's in the house.
No.
If the arrow's pointing out, the cat is outside the house.
This is like Department of Homeland Security for pets.
Yes, I think it's probably better than that.
This is awesome. Have you tried this? Is Fairway chipped?
No, Fairway is not chipped. I just saw this at the show. It can be programmed for up to 9 dogs or cats.
If you have 9 cats, you have a problem.
Yeah. No, the woman said, we have models up to 30 cats. I said, lady, if you have 30 cats, just leave the door open.
Yeah, really?
Exactly. It is pretty nifty. It runs on 4 AA batteries that have to be replaced every 6 to 9 months, and they start at about $90 if you just want the door that open in or out when the dog or cat approaches wearing the collar or has a chip, and they run up to about $250 for the ones with built-in clocks so that they can block out pets at certain times.
This is so incredible. Somebody in the chat room is asking, is this using near bark communication? Is that the technology?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
RBID. Yes.
No, but the chip now in the dog's ear is an RFID tag.
Yes.
Or the cat's ear.
Yes. That's what it
and they use a reader, but the dog would have to go ear first. I mean, because it has to be pretty close.
I don't know.
Unless the dog's wearing an Apple Watch.
Then there you go. I think that's one of the Apple Watch will also have
Apple
RFID.
Watch for dogs. Yeah. That's a product.
If you're a small person, you can just crawl in through the dog thing, and your wife will never, or husband.
We don't have a pet door because we are afraid of critters coming in.
You can set this that at 10 o'clock, let nobody in or out.
That's a great idea. I wish I could do that with the kids. Maybe I should just start by getting them chipped.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
so this is from pet-mate.com. Not available yet, probably.
It is just starting to ship now, but I think they have like a dozen different configurations, so they're all there at pet-mate.com.
And you don't have to get your dog or cat chipped because they can wear a tag.
You can just buy a little tag.
But then they'd have to go chest first through the door.
Maybe. But it's a way to weed out the neighbor's cat from coming in.
There's nothing. Oh, it's funny though. You know, you watch your cat just stroll right through the door. Neighbor's cat comes up, bonk, right, hit the head right in the door.
You know, and look at a very crafty cat who will stand right behind it, and they'll say, listen, go like a bat out of heck.
Follow really
and
close.
I'm following you in before that baby locks
We're
up.
all one cat here. Do they have a little tiny red velvet rope they can use to let people line up?
I think that's optional.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, pretty nifty stuff.
I have to conclude, writes one reviewer, there must be a tiny little brain in this cat door. I don't think that's how it works.
Not quite.
Wow.
Not quite.
Is this the Elite Super Selective cat door?
This is the CatMate Elite microchip cat door.
Yes,
yeah, that's
yes,
it. That's the one. It's on Amazon. I gave a quick look for about $170.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. Well,
but think of the damage that one raccoon in the house could do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are. My brother used to let raccoons in all the time.
They are so persistent. We had a cat door. We had to barricade it.
Yeah,
I'd go to bed. I'd put trash can in front of it. I'd put chairs behind it. Pillows. I'd tape it closed. They'd get in anyway.
No. My brother was using a "Please no raccoon" sign. I said, Joe, that's not going to work. You're not going to.
No, raccoon not allowed. If you go to gizwiz.biz, even raccoons can go to gizwiz.biz to play the What the Heck Is It contest. You probably has as good a chance as anybody because, frankly, these things are so obscure. Close-up pictures of gadgets. If you can identify it correctly, you're in the running for one of 12 autographed Mad magazines. If you get it wrong, if you're clever, there's 24. So this is for March and April. Go through the end of April. And then we did mention this, that the last month's gadget was the Patty Whacker.
Yeah, you worked with her on Tech TV, right?
Actually, my first roommate when I moved out of the house was Patty Dinner.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Patty Dinner?
Yeah.
How funny.
She probably had a sister named Patty Whacker. I don't know. Gizwiz.biz. Stick around if you are watching on the live stream. Dick is going to do. Have you seen Meerkat? You should do a Meerkat.
You know what? I don't have an iPhone.
You're an
so
Android user, yeah.
I'm an Android person.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah. I'm going to come up with Mere Dog. I'll show them.
It's really annoying, and there's no real reason. There's as many people have Android phones, in fact, more probably, than have iPhones.
Yeah, I think, yes.
But it's to this day, a lot of these cool apps that all the kids are using, they're on iPhones.
Let the kids have them.
Let the kids have Meerkat. You've got a dog and a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
And Patty Whacker. All right. All right, Dick. Stick around. The Giz Fizz is coming up after the radio show. Hey, let me thank our wonderful musical director, Nathan Staten, from Louisville. I mentioned that because we have a couple of people from Louisville in the audience today. Nice to have you. He picks all the music, so pat on the back to Nathan for doing a great job today and every week. And also to our phone ranger herself, Ms. Heather Hammond. Thank you, Heather. We'll be back next time to talk more about the latest tech stuff and to help you with your tech problems. The website techguylabs.com has links to everything we've talked about on the show today, including the phone number so you can call next time, the chat room, which goes 24/7. And by the way, thanks to our chat mods, that chat room is really run by the community. I provide a server for them, so they don't have to pay for hardware, but they do a great job running it. You'll find it all at techguylabs.com and answers to your questions, video and audio, and no sign-up fee. Don't watch your email. Have a great Geek Week. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.